Let's take another one.
Yeah, let's do another one. Retake. Welcome to the Barbershop. I'm Matt Horner with Keith, my buddy. How you doing?
Good, Matt. How are you?
Doing good. I'm doing a lot better than our President Trump is right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. All of his prostitutes are crying. They're like, give me more money, give me more money. Have you noticed the news with Stormy Daniels lately?
Yes.
It's today's show. We're going to just make fun of Trump. I like Trump. I voted for him, but he is such a different president than any president that we've ever had, that even guys who like him like me can make fun of him, because this is the first time. I mean, we had John F. Kennedy with Marilyn Monroe. We had Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky. Those were still kind of hush-hush, and they were handled in such a more professional way.
Yeah.
And now we have this, a famous porn star / hooker who took money on the quiet so she wouldn't say anything, like $100,000
Yeah.
during the election. And now that I guess that time's up and that there's a breach of contract, now she's just speaking about what he did and how the news media's excited about that. And I think there's something worth talking about, because we have a presidency that's it's just weird, you know.
It is very weird.
That we have a guy running our country that, you know, every now and then when he's stressed out, he might need a hooker.
That's one way to think
Running
about
a
it.
country is difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time he was running a billion-dollar business, he says.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's all according to his numbers and how much he thinks his name is worth at the time.
Yeah. And, of course, he has to he has to cheat on his third supermodel wife with this porn star.
Yeah.
So
Consensual sex.
And I don't know why it's very shocking in some ways. I'm not very shocked or stunned, and I don't know if it's really worth talking about. But it is somewhat, because we've never really had this type of dynamic before in the Oval Office, or even really in politics. That's just so in your face.
Well, and it's definitely, you know, with the way media has changed, that's one of the reasons that it's so in our face, and the lack of respect for the office. You know, it seems like before, and I could be wrong, but it just seems like that everybody wanted to protect the office of the presidency.
Yeah. I never felt like when I was voting for Donald Trump that he was a church boy.
Of course not.
I mean, when he was running, they came out with him in the quote, like, wanting to talks about how he just goes up to women and grabs them inappropriately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was, and they caught him on video saying it, and he gave a hand gesture and everything.
Oh my gosh!
And he didn't use kind words. He didn't say, "I like to go up to women and grab them inappropriately." He said, "I like to go up to grab the women and grab them, beep 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 beep," you know. And
yeah, definitely not the.
And that was, you know, way before we voted. And then the guy was married to nothing but supermodels, and when they got older, he would just kind of, you know, trade them in and
cheat on them, and then marry somebody else.
Yeah, marry someone else. And it's funny how all of his ex-wives still love him, though. Like, they all endorsed him,
Really?
and said they vote for him, and they think he's a great man. Which I find that funny. You know, when the ex-wives are saying that type of stuff, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird.
That is kind of weird.
Most exes are kind of like, you know, the exact opposite. They're embittered.
Oh yeah, sure. And the weird thing about Trump is the Stormy Daniels news will probably not affect his base at all.
Yeah.
And most people who voted for Trump or who have come to know Trump will probably be like, yeah, so that's not a big deal, because we already knew that about him, right?
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
You would assume that about Trump.
Yeah, like I was wanting a guy to go in there, do a job, you know, rattle the cage, you know, make the swamp angry.
Yeah.
Go get some of the swamp people.
He's definitely done that.
You know, and bring change. He's definitely brought a lot of change.
Yeah.
I wasn't, you know, but then you compare him to past presidents, and there's just nothing like him, whether Democrat, Republican.
Well, Twitter alone makes him different than every other president before him. You know,
it's fun to watch. I mean, we're 2 years in his presidency, and it's still just Trump mania. So,
okay,
yeah. But so it's different, and it's funny he still evokes large emotions, more so than like Bush and Obama.
Sure.
And those two seemed to feel like, and like the chasm is even greater now between left and right. Like, I mean, when they talk about we're going after the middle, I want to say, what is that? 2 people?
Yeah.
I mean, the swing voters. What are we talking? 10 in America? So,
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, the dividing line between Democrats and Republicans is so strong now, and both parties are in trouble, I think.
Yeah. And it's funny, I like change, but then they say, you think, well, is he a role model for young people, Donald Trump, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, I hope my son's not looking up to him.
That's true.
Ain't this funny? I mean, this is the first time you can have a president in America, and you think, well, now youth, let's not really be like him.
Right, exactly. It's not exactly
Let's
what
have a
we're
little
going
humility. You know, he's not really the best. And, and he doesn't always do the greatest job. Like he says, he's like, I'll do a great job, a really good job.
Yeah, the best job.
The best job.
I'll find the best people.
Yeah, it'll be huge.
Huge.
So it's funny because, like, even I could understand. I wouldn't agree, but me being a strong conservative, if you listen to the show, you've already figured that out. But even if any of the presidents, if a young kid would say, well, I want to be, whether Democrat, Republican, I would like to be more like such and such, I could understand the thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, yeah, he's a good dude. You know, overall, he's a positive for society.
Like Ben Carson.
Yeah.
You know, if he'd have became the president.
Oh, my gosh. You would have been like, yes, son, please be like Ben Carson.
Right, yeah.
Or child, you know, follow his footsteps.
Yeah. Nice guys finish last.
No. He was so like, he was like a sleepy basset hound on the debate, you know, just his eyes would be, and then he was real slow and talking, and but
you were
very Mr. Rogers like, you know, like, what would you do, Ben Carson, about ISIS? And he'd be like, well, first we need to understand ISIS, and why they think that. And then he'd go on with his explanation, and I'd be sitting there thinking, no, we can't hug him to death. Let's move on. You know? And then they're like, Trump, what do you do about Mr. Austin? Oh, I'd blow him up. You know, like I'd kill him.
Because you were a Ben Carson fan.
I gave to Ben Carson, so I was a big.
Yeah, and he's a great guy.
And he's a great guy, and he still hasn't got fired by Donald Trump, so it's okay because he's still, you know, working for his administration.
Right.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure what that says about him, but
yeah, well, you can keep that guy happy, so he don't look like.
It's funny about our children not wanting to become like Trump.
Yeah.
Abraham, my second born, is growing out his hair. And he's got sort of an orangish red hair. Mm-hmm. And he blow dried it the other day and had it come over, and he came out and said, I look like Donald Trump. It was really funny.
2 years ago, or 3 years ago, was the primary, and Donald Trump was running. At this time, my Democrat brother-in-law, I don't know what he is, but he's not a strong, he's kind of, he might be a moderate. He probably would describe himself as a moderate. Mm-hmm. He thought Trump was so hilarious. And he thought it'd be impossible for this guy to even win. He's just like a joke.
Right.
So at Halloween, he donated to Trump's Republican primary. You know, he still hasn't got the early on, so he could get like 4 hats or something.
Okay.
And then he mailed them to us. But then he ended up winning. And then it looked like Trump could possibly become president. And then, so now my brother-in-law's thinking, oh my gosh, I gave money to Satan. I gave money to Satan. So he started to feel guilty. So he gave money to all of Trump's opponents. So that, you know, he didn't feel like his money was tainted.
Right. That's hilarious.
It's funny, though, you know. Because at first there was really, and I was looking up some funny stuff about Donald Trump before the show, and there's some comedy, and there's just some Saturday Night Live skits. They're just making fun of him early on, that he wouldn't even have a chance.
Right.
Like even comedy at the beginning was like, this guy doesn't have a chance. Let's just make fun of him.
Yeah.
Because he thinks he has a chance.
Well, when I heard Donald Trump was running for president, I actually thought, he's just joking around, right? He's just doing this to be funny. Mm-hmm. Not the case.
Yeah.
Some people theorize that Donald Trump never intended to win presidency, that he was just doing it as like, there's nothing left for me to do. How about I just run for president type thing?
Yeah.
But then, when he started getting the traction, the idea that he could maybe win, projected him into wanting to win more.
Yeah.
That's just a theory, though.
So, and the things he would say was just so provoking in his race. And even today, still, he'll say something that a president really has no business, like the kneeling at the football, at the national anthem, NFL. He could have left that puppy alone. He had no reason to interject in something that was just civil and players' disobedience. That's an NFL issue. But he needs to, be involved in that. He pokes
into everything. Yeah.
And I like it how he makes fun of, like, if a movie actor makes fun of him. He goes, yeah, well, you're a has-been. Nobody watches you anyway. How he just kind of like, he's like a kid on the playground.
Oh, he's such a bully.
Like that. It's like, oh, you're irrelevant. Nobody listens to you anyway. Or if it's a female, he'll say some, like, beauty comment, like, you're ugly and...
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Well, that's the way he was acting about, what was her name? Carly...
Kelly off of Fox that got moved?
No, the girl that was running for president. The lady that was running for president.
Hillary Clinton?
No. Fiorina?
Oh, Carly, yeah, Fiorina, whatever, the Republican.
Yes.
He said some beauty things about her.
Really nasty things.
Yeah, about her face. It was hilarious.
It's not hilarious. It was too. It was terrible.
It was terrible. It's like he just said it. Or like how they started saying the size of their hands and comparing it to their genitalia.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was Rubio and Cruz and Trump, but, they were like, and I remember Trump, he was like so sensitive about that. Of course, a guy, who's so sexually active like him, he would be conscious about his
oh my gosh
private parts. And I remember he goes, trust me, my hands are very big. I remember him holding up his hands, shaking them to the left and right, saying my hands are large, like, so is I'm sitting there thinking, well, these guys that run for president, it's like, I'm a good president because I got a big wiener. And I don't know I can't remember if it was Cruz or Rubio who was making that jab against each other.
Oh, yeah.
And they were both kind of like, it's like, I just kind of shook my head.
Well, I think Cruz was making fun of the fact that he would even say such a thing. These guys are like, this is not a presidential candidate. You're not even, to the American people, they were trying to say, can you even imagine
it was the most real reality show ever was the debates.
Man.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
They've always had these reality shows, and they seem so and somewhat staged.
Oh, of course, yeah. A lot of reality shows are staged, right?
But the Republican debates was a reality show that was real.
Yeah.
And then when it came into the Democrat debate, it was even better. I remember, of course, it's funny the threats he would make that was just off the cuff, but the funny one, he was debating Hillary, and she said something like about the emails and stuff, and he goes, well, that's good, because if I become president, you're going to jail. He said something like that. The whole crowd just kind of went wild. So he's basically threatening to throw his opponent in jail.
In prison, yeah.
In prison.
Oh, my gosh. And this is our president.
This is our president.
And the Stormy Daniel thing is kind of, she's been, from what I've read, just back and forth on the whole deal. Someone was saying, I read an article that she was definitely high on her interview. Was it 60 Minutes or whatever she did? That her pupils were extremely dilated, and
there's that. They said she was high, but she did take the money from Donald Trump's lawyer and cash the check and sign a non-disclosure.
Mm-hmm. Which she claims they violated.
Which, yeah, because he didn't sign. Donald Trump didn't sign. His lawyer signed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, but then I just don't know what to think. And she's never claiming rape or anything.
Oh, no, definitely consensual.
It's just definitely, consensual. So why do we even care?
Well, it's the moral issue, right?
Yeah, it is a moral issue.
I mean, that's the whole thing.
We knew where he stood on that moral issue.
Yeah, so in my opinion, mainstream media, the left is just trying to. This is just one more thing,
Yeah.
that they're pushing.
But yeah, that's my whole confusion. How I'm kind of confused about it is like we knew he was a sexist and a immoral man and an adulteress.
Adulterer. Hmm.
Yeah, and so
We still hired him.
we still hired him, and so now we can't act shocked. I don't think.
No one's shocked.
And this goes back to forth where the media, national media, really doesn't pay attention. I don't think to the American people because I haven't yet met someone who's just shocked. Like when Bill Clinton did what he did, America was shocked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, and then he lied to us, and then we felt because we had Bill Clinton at a different standard than Donald Trump, and I think we still have him at a different standard than Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, and so that's what was shocking about Bill Clinton is like we didn't even think that would go on in that office. We thought he would be loyal to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But Donald Trump is like, yeah, we know he's
a sleazeball.
He's a sleazeball.
I was reading a tabloid. I was standing in line at a grocery store just the other day, and the tabloid was, Chelsea, isn't it Chelsea Clinton was telling her mom, just divorce him already. He's never going to stop cheating. It's just funny.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, and back to your comment about Kennedy, it's interesting, depending on which, history you read about Kennedy, but he definitely was not the faithful type.
Yeah.
And the American people certainly had an inkling of that. But he was just so loved, right?
Yeah, and this was a time when America kept their family laundry where no one else would see.
Right.
I think our culture's changed where if there's something a family's dealing with now, I mean, just look at the shows like Parenthood and the shows. The show's about opening up to the world your family laundry and showing them this is our life.
Yeah.
And so
back then it was more private.
Yeah, it was Andy Griffin, the Barbershop. Nobody, in the Barbershop came in and did anything bad, or nobody. The shows was the Beverly Hillbillies, and
yeah,
so it was just different.
It was different, and so now we have a sitting president who's an admitted, adulterer, and I think it speaks to me where the morality of America is.
Yeah.
And the fact that we had an amazing lineup of presidential candidates.
Oh, on the Republican side, we had some like Ted Cruz, Mark Rubio, which I think would have been great.
Ben Carson.
Carly Fiorina.
Yeah, even her.
I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she was awesome. Yeah. Super intelligent.
Ben Carson.
Yeah. So you have all of these amazing people, right? Too many, right? Amazing people. But still, pick any one of them. Yeah, let's do this thing. But Donald Trump, the celebrity who is the immoral person and the bully,
had everything going against him.
Wins.
Yeah, the media was against him all the way through.
So what does it say about American politics? What does it say about American culture? What does it say?
We love Jerry Springer. We want the show. Yeah. We want the show.
Basically. Yeah.
That's what I want. I want Donald Trump goes, all of y'all are fake news. Bring me Jerry Springer. I'll interview him. I'll have an interview with Jerry. And then I could see like Donald Trump on the Jerry Springer show, and then this woman's like, I got your baby. And he's like, it's not my baby. It's not my baby. Remember how the old Jerry Springer shows used to have these women show up, and they'd do like, and the DNA test says, it was like this reveal. That was the first gender reveal, or the first baby reveal was on Jerry Springer's show.
Jiminy. What a horrible show. Again, back to the morality of America. We've lost our identity, and specifically our Judeo-Christian ethic and our foundation.
Yeah.
And so today, for us to be surprised, shocked, or even troubled by the news of Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels it's irrelevant.
Yeah. I guess one thing is though, I think Donald Trump's a very smart businessman, and you could say so by just looking at his business record and seeing how his companies have done well. But I think he realized there's like 10 people running for Republican primary. He's like, you know what? All these votes are going to be split. He goes, if I ever have an opportunity, now's the opportunity for me to run. And at one point, we had 17 people running.
Yes.
For Republican primary in the president's race. And so, I mean, he's a calculated man. He takes calculated business risk, and it's funny. And I really, in some ways, feel he does some other things that are notable, like he still is refusing to take a salary.
Yeah.
So he is getting ribbed for 4 years of his life. He's actually going to be 6 years, 2 years running, and then these 4 years as president. And he's going to be made fun of. Everything's going to be horrible for him. Yeah. And he's going to do it for free. First, we've had a few presidencies do that, but it's been over 100 years.
Yeah, that's cool. That's admirable.
So there's some admirable things about him that we often brush off. And then I think he does have the heart and wants to really make America great again, or keep it great now is what he's saying. He thinks he's made it great again. So now he's saying, let's keep it great. Let's keep it great.
The changes I made in the first year dominated.
It's funny how he's changed the slogan so quickly.
And there's some positive things you read about Trump. You read things like how he treated the Secret Service and police departments over Thanksgiving, I believe it was, gave them a special deal. And he's definitely, you could see his interaction with the troops and military personnel is just really positive, I feel like. And so he has some redeeming qualities, which is why it's interesting, and that's the agenda of the mainstream media is so obvious. They just hate him.
Yeah.
But even with these talks with North Korea, you heard the CNN news lady saying that if Donald Trump can get into a talk with North Korea and fix North Korea, he will go down as a great president.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't even believe I'm saying that.
Yeah. know? And then I remember I was watching that Baldwin does a great Donald Trump on Saturday Night Live. And this is early on in the presidency. And I mean, he might have gotten elected by now, but he's not yet been sworn in.
Okay.
So this is at that stage, and Donald Trump comes into office, which is Alec Baldwin, and I think it's who's the Baldwin? Steve Baldwin. But anyway,
I think it's Alec Baldwin that does the Saturday Night Live.
Alec, and then he goes, oh, and you need to take care of ISIS. He goes, what is ISIS? And he goes, never mind, I got it. He grabs his phone. He goes, Siri, what is ISIS? And he talks it, and it's a BlackBerry. And he goes, damn these BlackBerries. And he throws it down on the table, and they make fun of that he doesn't even know what ISIS is. But he's dominated and destroyed ISIS right now.
Yeah, you don't even hear about ISIS
You don't even hear
anymore.
about it. He's totally just cleaned house. And remember, it wasn't a month after him being president, he dropped the Moab, the mother of all bombs, and just killed I forget how many people. I mean, but so... I mean, it's funny, they made fun of him, but yet look what he's done to ISIS. Barack Obama had 8 years to deal with it, and he's cleaned him up in 2.
Yeah. Well, really 1.
And Barack Obama called him a JV. And
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's just kind of funny, I mean, like, he's made some things, it's like, and he's took him to the cleaners.
Well, and you remember that comment he made about Kim Jong-un when he referred to Trump as old? And Trump tweets something along the lines of, I thought we were becoming friends. I've never called him short and fat before. It's like hilarious. This playground jargon here.
Yeah.
And, but at the same time, and then there was something about North Korea fired a missile really close to Japan again. And Trump's tweet was, we'll take care of it. Or I'll take care of it.
And then another thing is how he can provoke like the Mexico's president basically said on air, live television, Trump is effing stupid.
Yeah.
That's what he said. And totally disrespected Trump. And then a month later, Trump's down there in Mexico and they're like shaking hands and having this political, NAFTA meeting and everything. And
he just sent all these Russian people out of the country. The collusion was nothing. Turned out he was right about that.
Yeah. So it's a fun presidency to watch. It's better than any reality show.
Oh my gosh!
Even though the election is over, with Trump, one week we're talking about a prostitute, we're talking about NFL one week, we're talking about.
He's just in America's business.
He is in America's business,
and he's good for American business.
He is good. Yeah.
I mean,
our local gas station out here in Texas, New Mexico area, Allsups, just has in the paper right now that all their full-time employees is going to get $1,000 bonus.
Really?
Because of the Trump
tax reform.
Tax reform. That's a gas station.
Yep.
It's not like some big bank.
Sure. And even the leftist companies, I would think of Apple as a leftist company, promised huge. Made big promises to America with the raises and I was opening all of these different stores and different things. And so you see AT&T immediately pouring millions of dollars right back into their people.
Yeah.
And all of these companies, as soon as that tax reform is signed in, so if you think about it this way, if big corporations are immediately putting their money back into their own people, not their products necessarily, but their people, then it must have been positive on some level.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because we all know big corporations like 2 for me, 1 for you, 2 for me, 1 for you when they're counting their dollars. 4 for me, 1 for you.
Yeah. And so
yeah,
all of the talk about the tax, and I don't understand the tax stuff. And most Americans don't. That's the thing. And where was that video of Trump showing the IRS, he had that big stack of papers on one side, and this was what the IRS code was, and then he showed what we've reduced it to. We don't even have a concept of that as American people, in my opinion. Maybe everyone else does, and I just don't. But I just think, where does the money end up? That's the only real thing that I can judge whether a tax plan works or not is where's the money going? Yeah. And when it happens, and AT&T and all of these companies, and it wasn't just AT&T, it was all these companies are just saying, we're giving our people bonuses, I think the money's going to the people. Yeah. Which is what the Democrats are always crying about.
Yeah, and we got companies that have endorsed Democrats like Apple.
Sure.
That are giving bonuses.
Totally.
Yeah. So
must be doing something
right. But it's so funny. He's doing it the wrong way, the right way. If you could do it the wrong way. And I think about, like, maybe we've always tried to get a Billy Graham in there, and we never really needed a Billy Graham. We needed a guy who could bust some heads up,
Well,
because, I mean, that's what kind of George Bush was. He was kind of this redneck spoken.
Yeah. Deer in the headlights. I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Guy.
Oh, you're gonna ask me that question. Well,
bless his heart.
And so he was always like that,
Always. Couldn't tell a lie. In my opinion, George Bush could not tell a lie.
No. But I felt like he was always tried to be honest and upright.
Yeah, I do too. And it's in today's, so we're talking about America's morality, but what about global morality with issues like ISIS and other terrorist organizations and the deal with Iran and North Korea and Russia? Sometimes it's good to have a bully in your corner.
I think so, in some ways, but I wouldn't call him a bully, a guy who stands up for our society.
Naming other kids on the playground bad because of their facial features is a bully.
Well, they started it. They called him weak.
Oh my God.
Don't call him weak.
This has been the defense of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Only at the barbershop.
They started it. Yeah.
He's not a bully. He's a good guy.
Yeah. So I'm going to end it with this. Donald Trump, if you ever listen, a free haircut if you come to the barbershop.
In Cisco, Texas.
Yep. So I will fix it. I don't know what's wrong. If it's a dead cat up there or something.
It's the big... it's the big. Everybody wants to know if it's glued on or if it's real.
I remember during the debate he pulled on it. That was another debate thing,
Yeah,
like, this is real. He grabbed
gosh.
it. That was
what a clown.
What a clown. I want him to get a flat top for charity.
Yeah,
just change
high and tight.
So, well, this is the Barbershop, the show where we talk about anything, and sometimes it's something. So
that's right.
Tune in for the next one. Talk to you later.